need an arm and head. Carti and love it, leg. Arm and leg. Headed check. Smoke, can, hello, we talking about,
Choose your character.
All my systems fast, my takeoff is faster.
It's out, my bitch, yeah, she down, open up, let me
Perfect.
The year is 2020, and on Christmas, Playboi Carti released his highly anticipated album, Whole Lotta Red. Upon release, it received a lot of hate from both critics and fans. As time went by and the album aged, people's opinions about the album started to change. Within a year of Whole Lotta Red's release, the album already had a ton of influence within the music industry. Today, I'm here to tell you the story behind the album and break down each of the 24 tracks on it. Before getting into the album though, I would quickly like to plug that I made a TikTok that you guys should go follow. I'll be posting content on there. I'm trying to get that popping, so definitely go out and support that. And if you haven't already done it yet, go follow my Instagram too. That would be greatly appreciated. You guys can always reach out and just show me some love. It's all good. Make sure to comment what it was like for you in 2020 when this album came out, and what was your reaction when you first heard it. Classic or not, let me know. But let's rewind the clock back to the beginning of 2018 when Playboi Carti released his debut album, LIT. The album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200, selling 61,000 copies in its first week. Upon release, the album was met with generally positive reviews, but over time, the album definitely aged very well. If you would like to know more about the album, I have already done a video on that. I'll put a link in the description for you guys to go watch it. Not that long after the release of LIT, the hype for Carti's next album began. In 2018, the snippet for Carti's infamous unreleased song Cancun was released online. The snippet blew up, and of course the "my stomach hurt" memes that came from it were hilarious. For those of you who do not know, the song Cancun actually inspired the name of this channel. It's one of my favorite Playboi Carti songs, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. When I was thinking of a title for this channel, I thought of my favorite song, which is Cancun, and needed another C word to go with it, so I chose Clout. The more you know. The next month after the Cancun snippet dropped, Carti announced the title of his next album and said that it would be called Whole Lotta Red. That same month, the song Place was previewed by Luca Sabat and Ann Connor on Luca's Triller account.
It's a whole lot of red. Hello. Hello.
Notably, in the song, Carti mentions the Whole Lotta Red album. Ian retweeted the snippet and said that the song would never drop, which turned out to be false. For those who don't know, Ian massively helped out Carti in the early part of his career. Ian also retweeted another tweet saying that Whole Lotta Red would be the best album of 2019. In his retweet, he corrected himself and said mixtape. This was in December, but a month before this, in November, Carti performed what we know today as the song Neon during a performance in Seattle, Washington. At this same show, he also previewed the song Molly No Stylist. This obviously got fans very excited about the album. I wasn't a fan of Carti in 2018 because I became a fan in early 2019, which I'll get to, but hearing songs like Cancun, Place, Molly, and Neon ahead of this version of Whole Lotta Red led to a lot of hype for the album. In early 2019, Pierre Bourne started to tease the album, Pierre being the man who was very important to Carti blowing up, with him producing his breakthrough single Magnolia and Pierre producing a majority of LIT. Pierre Bourne producing for Whole Lotta Red got fans very excited because LIT sounded amazing, so if Pierre was producing for the album, it was going to be another great album. Keep in mind, Pierre produced Cancun, Place, and Molly. However, he did not produce Neon though, because it was Molly Raw who produced that track. In April of 2019, as some people know, the song Pissy Pamper, aka Kid Cudi, got leaked. It originally was going to appear on Young Nudy's 2019 project, Slimeer, before it got leaked. Upon getting leaked, Carti's verse went viral due to what people dub as his baby voice. The baby voice got introduced to the world on LIT with songs like Flatbed Freestyle and appeared on a lot of songs leading up to Whole Lotta Red. The bad part about Pissy Pamper getting leaked was that it complicated the clearance process for the sample. This is according to Pierre Bourne, who produced the track. One can imagine what could have happened to Nudy and Carti's career if this song never got leaked, because it was huge despite it getting leaked. In a month after Pissy Pamper, Tyler the Creator dropped his Igor album. This is notable because on the album, he has a song called Earthquake that features Playboi Carti. The song peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Carti's verse went viral and became a meme. In early June of 2019, Fader did a cover story of Playboi Carti. During his interview, he talked about Whole Lotta Red. He first mentions how at the time he had been working with the producer Metro Boomin. When talking about Metro, Playboi Carti says that aside from Whole Lotta Red, he was making a tape with Metro Boomin. He was conflicted because the music that he was making with Metro Boomin could also be on Whole Lotta Red. But if these songs with Metro Boomin made it to Whole Lotta Red, he said that he had to change the whole album. When asked if Whole Lotta Red was finished, he replied that it could be done if he wanted it to be. The problem was that he kept on trying to top what he previously already did for the album. He noted that he had the possibility of making the hardest song the next day if he decided to wait. Later on in June, Fader dropped an article discussing leaked Playboi Carti music showing up on his Apple Music page that was uploaded throughout the year. It was 5 songs, with those songs being Butterfly Pill is Molly, T-Ish is Toke-ish featuring G Herbo, A&L is Arm and Leg, Shorty in Love has the same name that it was uploaded under, and Hulk was the song Green and Purple, which is a Travis Scott song that Carti featured on. Travis uploaded that song to SoundCloud back in 2017, 2 years before this. Travis uploaded that song to SoundCloud back in 2017, 2 years before this. I believe that Toke-ish, Arm and Leg, and Shorty in Love are all from the LIT era. Green and Purple is, of course, like I said, a Travis Scott song that Carti features on. That leaves Molly as the sole song that was intended for Whole Lotta Red that got leaked out of this batch. Obviously, Molly at least leaking was a big deal, but this would be the least of Carti's worries because Neon would also leak as well. Neon leaked either in May or June of 2019. Now, 2 of the key songs that Carti previewed for Whole Lotta Red, which were Neon and Molly, leaked. Playboi Carti learned about the popularity of the leaked songs during a performance in late June of 2019. This performance was only a couple of days after the reports came out about his leaked songs being uploaded to his official Apple Music account. During this performance, he performed the song Neon, and he was surprised to say the least. The crowd knew all the words to his unreleased song. This would lead to a classic Carti moment.
Play some new shit, Carti! How the fuck y'all niggas know that song?
Shortly after this concert, Carti took to his Instagram to say that he was hacked and had not released anything. He also said that he hated leaks and to leave him alone. The very next month in July, while performing at a show in Milwaukee, Carti said that he had worked too hard and wanted to drop Whole Lotta Red within the next 60 days. He also talked about the album having no features. Carti said this in late July of 2019. According to Carti, Whole Lotta Red was supposed to drop anywhere from that moment to mid to late October of that year. That's when the 60-day mark ended. A couple months after Carti said that Whole Lotta Red was dropping, the song Cancun leaked. This happened in September of that year. The very next month in October, Carti took to Instagram to post a picture with the caption of 48 hours locked in. I remember this in real time and I was super hyped because I thought that Carti was finally about to drop the album. It only made sense because Carti saying this was at the very end of him saying that he would drop Whole Lotta Red in 60 days from late July of 2019. But shout out to my boys Dave and Tayton, my college buddies. I was a freshman at the time and I remember me and my boy Dave thought that the album would drop while my boy Tayton called cap on it. Tayton turned out to be right because there ended up being no album, which left me, Dave, and a bunch of other fans highly disappointed. Carti posted that 48 hours locked in post on October 16th of 2019. 2 days later, on October 18th, Carti made another post saying that he just made 10 vibes. I didn't care that he made 10 vibes because I couldn't hear any of them. So why would you even post that? Like, that was like so stupid in my opinion. Closing out 2019, and we got insight into Carti and Uzi not being on the best of terms. They were very close early on in their careers and had plans to release a collab album titled 1629. This is a tape that fans, including me, still clamor for today. Now we get to the beginning of 2020 when Carti did a very short interview with Culture Kings. In the interview, he was asked when Whole Lotta Red was dropping, and he said sometime that year. I don't think that we expected Carti to wait until the buzzer of 2020 to drop the album. In April, Carti got arrested after being busted with drugs and guns that were found in his Lambo. People thought that this would affect the album, but it really did not. He posted Bond not that long after being arrested. A week and some change after he got arrested, Carti released At Me, which people perceived to be a single for Whole Lotta Red, but it ended up not making the final album. The song ended up peaking at number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. Still to this day, I do not like this song. I thought that maybe after listening to Whole Lotta Red the first time I would like it, but no. I never listened to the song, and at the time it was released, I was really worried about Whole Lotta Red. Around the time that Carti released At Me, the song Pain 1993 was being teased. Pierre Bourne, who produced the track, sent out a tweet for the release of the song. Ian Connor replied to this tweet saying that it was dropping the same day as At Me, which turned out to be false. The same day Ian Connor said this, Carti tweeted out Monday. He said this on April 16th of 2020, with that being a Thursday. Then on 4/20 of 2020, the Monday Carti tweeted about came and he simply said hey on Twitter. When Playboi Carti was tweeting this, he and Uzi were kind of going back and forth a bit. Uzi teased Carti about dropping on Monday, and they were both going back and forth. They both eventually made up though. But while Carti and Uzi were going back and forth on Twitter, the hype for Drake's song Pain 1993 featuring Carti was building. The song was first previewed by Ian Connor back in 2019, and in mid-April of 2020, a promotional video for the song was released. After hearing the song in the promo video, I was super hyped because I liked the smoothness of the beat and I also really enjoyed Drake's part. The song ended up on Drake's 2020 mixtape Dark Lane demo tapes in May of 2020. Pain 1993 ended up peaking at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. Fans were disappointed by Carti's verse, and I was very much so. I felt like the song was great until I got to his part. Now, some people have said that since then, his verse grew on them, but it still has not grown on me. To me at this time, I felt like Carti was 0-2 in 2020. I also prefer the OG version of Pain 1993 with the little snippet that surfaced online. Whole Lotta Red news kinda went quiet throughout the rest of May and July of 2020. At the beginning of June, news broke that Carti had a kid with Iggy Azalea. This then led to a bunch of memes of Carti dropping a kid before the album, which I thought were very hilarious. His relationship with Iggy would soon end, and literally right before and after Whole Lotta Red released, Iggy went in on Carti on Twitter about various things. In September, Carti posted a pic on Instagram with red hair. People refer to this as the start of the V3 era of Whole Lotta Red, with there being 3 different versions or eras of Whole Lotta Red leading up to the album. In November of 2020, Carti took to Instagram to announce that he had turned in the album. I was a bit skeptical of this, but not that long after, Carti previewed what we know today as New Tank, which landed on the album. This snippet sent people into a frenzy because it was a sound that we never really heard before coming from Carti. This was way different from leaked and unreleased songs of the V1 and V2 Whole Lotta Red eras. I believe right around this time is when Carti featured on Lil Yachty's song Flex Up, and this was a really good feature. In my opinion, it was way better than what he did on Pain 1993 and his performance on the song At Me. During the build up to Whole Lotta Red, Carti previewed multiple songs with Go to the Moon and Over being a few. Then we get to December and DJ Academics revealed credible information directly from Carti's team about the release of Whole Lotta Red. He announced that the album would be released on Christmas and that Whole Lotta Red would be executive produced by Kanye West and Matthew Williams. Academics also said to expect a classic, which he was not lying about. Of course, after this, Playboi Carti tweeted a lot about the album, and there was a bunch of info coming out from various sources. Finally, Whole Lotta Red was released on Christmas in 2020. The album ended up topping the Billboard 200 charts, selling over 100,000 copies in its first week. I definitely think that it would have sold more if it wasn't for the negative reception the album got immediately after it was released. I remember rushing home from my grandma and grandpa's Christmas Eve party to listen to the album. From the first listen, I liked over half of the songs, but there was a part of me that was not expecting what we got on the album. Like I said, I became a fan during the V1 era of Whole Lotta Red in 2019. This album sounded completely different from what I was expecting it to sound like. But speaking of the V1 era, hackers supposedly revealed the tracklist and album artwork of the original album. When looking at the tracklist of this supposed original album, it was said to be 16 songs. From the tracklist going around Reddit, V1 had a lot of famous leaked songs such as Not Real, aka Molly, Neon, V Westwood, aka RPMs, Boulder Crest, Back Up, Switch Lanes, Shopping Spree, I Promise You, Buffy aka Buffy the Body, F It Up aka Did It Again, etc. If this is indeed true, then this would have been a classic as well. As much as I love the final version of Whole Lotta Red, I will forever believe that the V1 era is superior, and if this version of the album had been released, it would have been better. Don't get me wrong, because people describe V2 of Whole Lotta Red as being angelic, which it was. The leaks from that era definitely give off them vibes, but this V1 album was basically all hits no misses, excluding the stuff that we haven't heard or have only heard snippets of. Also, the supposed cover of this V1 album got leaked as well. The actual cover of the final version of Whole Lotta Red that released in 2020 was inspired by 70s punk rock outlet Slash magazine. Slash did a cover featuring the Damn singer Dave Vinian, which inspired the official cover art for Whole Lotta Red. Now, some people might have an issue with the title of this video with me deeming this album a classic. My reply is, how is it not? The impact and influence this album had is crazy, both in the mainstream and in the underground, especially in the underground. The album aged beautifully over time instead of spoiling a few weeks after its release. I'm a huge fan of lore behind an album, and the story and lore of this album is one of a kind. Whole Lotta Red has tons of replay value, and the production is top notch, at least in my eyes. We can definitely debate in the comments, but let me know if you believe this album is a classic or not. The last thing in this section that I do want to talk about is Mario Judah. Yo, what the heck happened to my boy Mario Judah, man? This man was trolling Carti heavy before the release of Whole Lotta Red. He had that Big Ya song and a whole project titled Whole Lotta Red. Wild times, man, wild times. But this will close out the first part of the video where I broke down the history leading up to the album. Now I will break down the story behind each track. The first song on the album is Rockstar Made. This track was the introduction to the world of Playboi Carti's punk rockstar sound outside of the snippets leading up to the album. It should be noted that previous to the release of Whole Lotta Red, Carti had been calling himself a rockstar. Notably on LIT in 2018 on the song Love Hurts with Travis Scott, the hook is talking about how a shorty wants a rockstar. A year previous to this, in 2017, Carti was interviewed by Complex. In this interview, he pretty much foreshadowed the aesthetic of the final version of Whole Lotta Red 3 years before it was officially released. In the interview, he talked about his love for vampire movies, specifically the 1987 movie The Lost Boys. When asked about what he liked about the movie, Carti responded by saying, "Everything. I paused the movie and played my music over top of it and it looked so crazy. I thought, damn, I want to look like this. That's me. That's Playboi Carti, a vampire on a dirt bike, flying, laughing and stuff. The fangs, my grills, long hair, dreads, rockstar stuff. You know what I mean? It's fire." The last thing that Carti is quoted as saying in this 2017 interview is that he was really into guitars. It's crazy that this interview was released the same day as Self-Titled in 2017 and foreshadowed Carti's project after his next album at the time, which was 2018's LIT. Back to Rockstar Made though, and originally Travis Scott was supposed to be on the song. Before the release of Whole Lotta Red and before people knew of the existence of Rockstar Made, Carti tweeted out thanking Travis Scott for his amazing verse. Travis Scott featuring on Rockstar Made was corroborated by a producer close to Travis. At the time, people didn't know what this verse was for, and when Whole Lotta Red was released, Travis Scott was not featured on the album. Then in 2021, famous streamer Aiden Ross revealed that Travis originally had a verse on Rockstar Made. Aiden Ross ended up playing part of the version with Travis Scott.
Went from no flow, now I got 4 spots I can stay. Flew her to San Fran to watch the play, she thinks she paid.
This was pretty much what we got, and although I like Travis and the duo of Travis and Carti, I don't know how I feel about this. I like Rockstar Made as it is, but I feel like I need to hear Travis's full verse to see if I prefer it over what we got. To me, Playboi Carti is currently 3 for 3 on intros to his projects, including Location from Self-Titled and Longtime Intro from LIT. I do want to bring up the producer Filthy because he has production credits on this track. He has production credits on 6 tracks on the album. He has the second most out of any producer. Rockstar Made, Stop Breathing, and New Tank are some of the tracks that he produced on, and they really fit the aesthetic of the album. Rockstar Made then fades into Go to the Moon featuring Kanye West. This is a track that Carti previewed a month before the release of Whole Lotta Red. There was a lot of hype behind this track, and I'm not gonna lie, I was fairly disappointed when I heard the full version on the album. Also, keep in mind that the version that Carti previewed was slightly different. The notable change that I could find was the line about Kanye talking his wife into a 3-way being removed. Speaking of Kanye, his verse in the intro of the song is mostly taken from a leaked song Future did in 2016 titled In Abundance. This song was intended for Future's 2016 mixtape Purple Rain, but was cut last minute for unknown reasons. Kanye reused parts of his verse on the song for Go to the Moon.
You ugly hot, like that bitch to call you to borrow 500, then promise she gon' pay you back tomorrow.
After Go to the Moon comes the track Stop Breathing. The hook of the song interpolates a song Gucci Mane did and called Shirt Off.
I take my shirt off and all the hoes stop breathing.
Take my shirt off and all the hoes stop breathing.
This track, although it's a great song to get hyped to, it has some dark history behind it. I'll keep it brief since I really don't like to talk about street stuff because I like to keep it music, but Carti starts off his first verse by saying that ever since his brother died, he's been thinking about homicide. People infer that Carti is referring to his close friend Big Sosa, who tragically passed away in June of 2020 as a result of a shooting. In the track, Carti disses fellow Atlanta rapper Ola Runt multiple times. He even goes as far as to say that he had people shank Ola Runt while he was incarcerated. Like I said, I'm not really going to go too deep into this because that would spiral into something else, and the backstory of that in itself is very deep and complex. There are numerous videos online breaking down the situation between the two parties. On Stop Breathing, Carti refers to someone named Bino. Well, Bino is who the next song on the album is titled after. Bino refers to Homicide Bino, who makes up one half of Homicide Gang, who are under Carti's Opium label. A fun fact about this song is that Ken Carson, an artist who is also on his label, has production credits on the song. Jump Out the House is after this, and there is not much history about this track. It's just Carti mainly repeating Jump Out the House over a hard beat for a minute and a half. Richie Souf produced this track, and this is a man who I thought was going to appear on the album a lot more through his production. He had locked in with Carti multiple times to make music throughout the build up to the album. He notably produced songs that got leaked during this era, such as Headshots, Superstar aka Suck Me Dead, Tryna Get Down, Trenches, and many more. Earlier, I mentioned how Go to the Moon disappointed me, but the next track on the album, Metamorphosis, disappointed me as well. Don't get me wrong, I feel like the song is good, but I was definitely disappointed because it featured Kid Cudi, and I thought that this track was going to be Young Nudy and Carti's infamous leaked song titled Kid Cudi featuring Kid Cudi. The reason why I and many other people thought this was because before Whole Lotta Red, Carti previewed a version of the song with Cudi on it. Unfortunately, this version of the song would not make it on the album, and it remains unclear if any version of Pissy Pamper aka Kid Cudi will ever be officially released. The song Slayer is next up, and the title of this song is about the thrash metal band Slayer. There really isn't any more history to this track, and the same thing goes for the song No Sleep. The song New Tank does, with the name of the song being about Kanye West gifting Playboi Carti a Sherp ATV. This is what Carti appears in for the Metamorphosis music video. New Tank is a song that Carti previewed before the release of the album. He did this on IG Live, with the live only lasting about a minute. What I do remember is Carti's infamous line that thought I was gay, pause, going viral. Teen X featuring Future is the next song on the album. The title Teen X is in reference to Ken Carson. This was/is a nickname of his, and before Whole Lotta Red, he released an EP titled Teen X in August of 2020, months before the release of the album. When asked about what does Teen X mean, basically Ken Carson said that it meant teenage ecstasy, a young high boy. There was a music video for the song that had been teased, but as of right now, we still don't have it. Another thing about the song is that Lil Yachty appears to have had the instrumental to the song before Playboi Carti. His version of the song is known as Green Light, and it was first previewed in 2019 by Pink Flamingo USA.
It's green light, nigga, what it seem like. And the bitch bad like termite. Feet on the wood like teen night.
I heard the song when Pink Flamingo first posted it, and I kept replaying the snippet over and over again. This song eventually leaked in full 2 years after the release of Whole Lotta Red. I really could not find anything about the next track, Me, but Vamp Anthem does have information about it. Playboi Carti turns into a full-on vampire on this track. This song got a lot of attention after the release of the album, mainly in due part to the instrumental of the song. The song interpolates the composition staccato and fugue in D minor. Sorry if I butchered those pronunciations. This was originally composed by a man by the name of Johann Sebastian Bach. This composition is heavily linked to horror and Dracula, which matches the aesthetic of the album. Out of Town and Starboy both have production credits on Me. These are two people who are very affiliated with Opium. Vamp Anthem then fades into New Neon, and this is a song that I was very happy about appearing on the album. I already talked about this song in the first part of the video, but as I said, an early version of the song leaked online around May or June of 2019. There are two different versions of the song, with the second version having an open verse, different lines, different mixing, etc. Ultimately, this version was scrapped in favor of the first version with an updated mix, hence the name New Neon. This is the version that appears on Whole Lotta Red. Control is the 14th song on the album. When I first heard this song, I didn't know what to think of it. After a while, I got a feeling for it, but DJ Academics appears on the intro of the song. He is notable not only for being on the intro for the song, but also, like I said earlier, he was the source of a lot of accurate information regarding the album. The intro samples a live stream DJ Academics did on Twitch, where he basically says that he sold his soul to get information on Whole Lotta Red. Let's move on to Punk Monk, which is the next song on the album. This is another song that was big on TikTok after its release. There are some notable lines in this song though. In the song, Playboi Carti says that he tried to sign Trippie Redd before the world knew him. Carti also said that he thought that he had Pierre Bourne, but the label tricked him. Of course, Pierre Bourne being a producer and rapper that was very instrumental to Carti's career. My interpretation of Carti saying that he almost had Pierre was following what he said about Trippie Redd. Pierre Bourne ended up signing with Interscope Records as well, but not through his Opium imprint like he wanted. I slept on it and I woke up and he was signed to a major label. I wasn't really salty about it. I was just looking at it like, alright, cool. I just need to lock it in when I step into a room with some people from now on, because I feel like people just started looking at my taste and my opinion. Alright, if Carti likes it, sign it, boom. The last notable line is when Carti rapped about being in Paris when Offset and Lil Uzi Vert got into it. This is about problems that Offset and Lil Uzi Vert had over Uzi's upside down cross pendant. In May of 2017, Uzi wore an upside down cross at the Billboard Music Awards. After this, Offset took to his Instagram to comment on the trend of rappers donning upside down crosses. All of y'all dudes wearing upside down crosses, stop that stuff. You look lame. All that worship the devil stuff, get with God, man. Uzi responded to this by making a post on Instagram with an inverted cross while tagging Offset. In the comments, Offset said that he would pray for him. On that time comes right after Punk Monk, and once again, I could not really find anything about this song. King Vamp follows on that time, and this was the nickname Carti donned himself during this era. During his verse, he raps that a girl told him that she was looking for him. He replies that he had been in Wyoming. This is notable because before the release of Whole Lotta Red, Carti spent time with Kanye in Cody, Wyoming, where Kanye's ranch was. Place is another song from the V1 era of Whole Lotta Red. There have long been rumors of there being a version of the song with Drake on it. If there is a version of the song with Drake on it, I would be very interested to hear it, but I definitely feel like Place did not need a feature. The funny thing about the version of Place that appeared on Whole Lotta Red was the pause at the very beginning of the record. I remember when everybody was hating on Whole Lotta Red when it first came out, people pointed to this record while trying to fit their narrative of the record being rushed and incomplete. People thought that leaving the pause in was by accident, but it was actually done on purpose. Pierre Bourne produced the record, and in an interview with Hypebeast about the pause, he said, "You'll hear it on my album. On T-Lot 5, the track Drunk and Nasty, it's a dramatic pause just like that. It's just silence and it makes people go, what is going on? And you're there just waiting for it to drop. The real reason is for the shows, but since there's been no shows, everybody's just listening in the crib like, did this stuff just cut off? But it's done on purpose. If it was at a show, it builds suspense and then the beat comes in and it hits." Me and Carti got way more music though. We locked in the majority of last year, so him just putting those 2 songs on the album, he's just playing with the world. He's holding on to all the music we got. Some people call cap on it being intentional and blame Carti and his team for being lazy and not fixing the pause, but as Pierre Bourne said, the pause was intentional. Unfortunately, after producing almost all of LIT, Pierre only produced 2 songs on the album, with Place being an older song that he already did for Carti. On the day that the album was released, Pierre Bourne posted a peace sign on Twitter along with a sad meme. I get that you need to constantly evolve and update your sound, but man, I would have loved to hear Pierre Bourne on this album more and more on future albums. For Whole Lotta Red, there are actually 23 credited producers on the album. About this, Carti would say, "You got rappers who like being around rappers, and then you got rappers like me who like being around producers. I'm always looking for that new sound. I'm a producer head. That's what I love. And I'm never stuck on one producer either. We're only getting older, and I like having young dudes around me to tell me what's fire right now. I ain't never dropping that album without popping a new producer or giving a producer who's been going crazy his spotlight, so it was normal for me." The song Place then fades into the 19th track on the album, Sky. She Loves Michi, who's a popular dancer online, was interviewed by DJ Small's Eyes in 2022. In this interview, he talks about Playboi Carti recording the song Sky. At the beginning of the hook, Carti asked his friend to roll 10 blunts for him. Michi said that this was true and Carti really asked someone to do this during the recording of the song. He also said that Playboi Carti almost did this song in one take. Though the song released a couple years ago, it remains to be fairly popular due to the song trending every month due to Carti's opening line of his only verse on the song. He says, "Wake up, it's the first of the month." So on the first of the month, every month this song trends. Carti saying this interpolates the hook of the 1995 Bone Thugs and Harmony song, First of the Month. Sky became the most popular song from Whole Lotta Red, with it having over 600 million plays on Spotify alone. The song Sky is also produced by Art Dealer. There isn't a lot that's known about him due to him being very mysterious. What we do know is that he's been producing for Carti since LIT and is one of his creative directors. Art Dealer also has the most production credits on this album with 7, with a few of them being Over, King Vamp, and Control. The song Over follows this and is one of my favorite songs on the album, hands down. Apparently Joy Division, the lead designer behind Playboi Carti's Opium label, accidentally previewed the song on IG Live. It's said that this version that he previewed has alternate lyrics. I Love You, I Hate You is the 21st song on the album and is the second and last song that Pierre Bourne produced for Whole Lotta Red. This song was made in honor of Big Sosa, who I mentioned earlier. Also, in the intro of the song, Playboi Carti mentions Reggie Carter, who is his real life brother. The song Not Playing is next, and it is a certified skip for me on the album. The last song on the album is Feel Like Dying. This is the very deep track that closes out the album. Now there was a deluxe for this album that was discussed, but this never came to fruition, sadly. In the comments, let me know what you thought about the video and the album. Did you like Whole Lotta Red on the first listen, or did it grow on you? Also, let me know how you feel about Playboi Carti's upcoming album. I'm not really vibing with his new voice and sound. It's mainly his voice because it sounds nothing like him at all, or at least what I'm used to his voice sounding like. For instance, when I first heard him on Travis Scott's song Fiend, I had no clue that it was him. But let me know how you feel in the comment section below. All in all, I love you guys with all my heart. Peace.